What is up, Engineot? Let's talk about Agmatine, one of my favorite compounds, and how it affects your brain, your body, testosterone, and whatnot. I have used this compound in various doses, tested my allergy to testosterone to see if it works. So let's discuss this in this video. Let's dive in. So first of all, what is Agmatine? Agmatine is a metabolite of arginine. Arginine can be converted into ornithine or citrulline, or via this enzyme into Agmatine. I couldn't find any specific cofactor for this enzyme, so I don't know how we can upregulate it. There is probably a cofactor, but it hasn't been discovered yet. Then Agmatine can be converted into or by diamine oxygenase, which also breaks down histamine into these specific compounds. But let's talk about Agmatine. It's not an amino acid, but it's created from an amino acid. All right, so let's talk about all of the benefits. I'm just going to run through these specifically on the brain. It's really interesting. So first one, it's very potent neuroprotective, and it can help prevent neurological death of dopaminergic neurons. So it's protective to your dopaminergic system. One of the reasons people start to feel depressed and low in motivation is due to elevated oxidative stress, which is killing the dopaminergic neurons. Agmatine protects those neurons against damage and death. So Parkinson's disease is also destruction of the dopaminergic neurons. Agmatine can be highly protective and ensure you have high levels of dopamine. Number two, it prevents the disruption of the blood-brain barrier, thus protecting the brain against toxins. It can't enter into the brain to cause damage. Number three, it can increase allopregnanolone, which is a potent antidepressant and anxiolytic hormone, by activating PPAR alpha and its cofactor PGC1 alpha. So you might relate these to more fat oxidation, but when you bind this with Agmatine or PEA, it can enhance the production of allopregnanolone. And allopregnanolone is a positive allosteric modulator of the GABA receptor, which means it makes it more sensitive to GABA agonists. Number four, it protects against GSK3 beta induced signaling disruption in the hippocampus. GSK3 beta is the enzyme that inhibits the formation of glycogen. This enzyme is elevated in the brains of depressed people, and inhibiting it has antidepressant effects. So you can't create glycogen, so that your brain is constantly in a low glycogen or a low glucose state. You can't produce energy. When you can't produce energy, your neurotransmitter synthesis is dysfunctional. Number five, it reduces fearfulness and the acquisition and or consolidation of contextual fear stimuli. So when you are fearful, you tend to imprint memories associated with that fear much easier, and then you create more and more memories based on fear. So it basically inhibits that, which is fantastic. More benefits. Number six, it prevents this dysregulation of serotonin and dopamine due to stress. It reduces the levels of acetylcholine esterase, the enzyme that breaks acetylcholine down, and oxidative stress markers, and significantly increases BDNF levels in stressed mice. It effectively prevents inflammation-induced depression. Number eight, it prevents the rise in cortisol due to stress, which makes it an effective adaptogen. It also protects the brain against excessive cortisol itself. Number nine, it acts as a serotonin receptor 1A and B agonist. The serotonin receptor 1B lowers median RAF nucleus serotonin, which is elevated in people with depression. So your brain, different areas of the brain have different levels of specific neurotransmitters. And so this median RAF nucleus in the brain is very high, or can be high, in serotonin. And when it's too high, actually it contributes to depression. So it's not like someone has high or low serotonin. It's like which area of the brain has high or low serotonin and which receptor is being upregulated or downregulated. So it's just dysregulation of the serotonergic system. And Agmatine can help to bring down that excessive serotonin, thus helping against depression. Number 10, it's an NMDA antagonist, which has antidepressant properties, similar like memantine or ketamine, those kind of stuff. Number 11, it can even potentiate the antidepressant effects of sub-threshold doses of lithium, so it works synergistically together with other antidepressants. Number 12, it's an inhibitor of neural and inducible nitric oxide synthase. This property makes Agmatine very effective against neurological pain, anxiety, depression, and neurological damage and death. So we have endothelial, neural, and inducible nitric oxide synthase. When you have too much of these enzymes activity, they create too much nitric oxide, which is a free radical, will then start to damage the brain. So when you lower that, you actually improve brain health. It doesn't inhibit eNOS, which is endothelial nitric oxide synthase. So you still have optimal vasodilation. Number 13, it's effective against cerebral edema, which is swelling of the brain. Number 14, it protects against tardive dyskinesia due to its neuroprotective properties to the dopaminergic system. Tardive dyskinesia is involuntary muscle twitches. As a side note, serotonin is also involved in head twitching. So it could be that it's this dual effect where it promotes proper dopaminergic function, but it also reduces excessive serotonin. Number 15, it suppresses harmful reactive oxygen species and oxidative stress, therefore again enhancing brain health. Number 16, it promotes neurogenesis and remyelination, so the formation of new myelin sheaths, enhancing neurological function. Number 17, it reduces glial scars. Number 18, reduces hypoxic brain tissue damage. Number 19, it suppresses the accumulation of beta amyloids and phosphorylated tau proteins, which may contribute to reduced cognitive decline in mouse brain, specifically in the context of Alzheimer's disease. Number 20, it can be used as a treatment for amnesia, which is memory loss. Number 21 is reduced ethanol-induced anxiolysis. So when you abuse alcohol, alcoholics are more prone to being anxious because of the alcohol. And so when you use Agmatine, it prevents that. It also helps against opioid withdrawal anxiety and depression in mammals. Agmatine has greater potential to reduce morphine dependence than other imidazoline specific ligands such as moxonidine and rilmenidine. Sorry for these pronunciations, but they don't really roll off the tongue. The point is that when you abuse drugs and you go in withdrawal, whether it be opioids or ethanol or whatever, it can help to prevent that kind of anxiety. Okay, so here are some of my favorite benefits when it comes to Agmatine for the brain. So it helps against anxiety and it enhances mood. Because it's an NMDA antagonist, it lowers cortisol, it lowers noradrenaline and adrenaline in the brain, it increases allopregnanolone, increases BDNF, and it prevents glycogen depletion, so it ensures optimal glycogen levels. It feels like you're just so level-headed and calm and chill. It's like that alpha feeling that you are looking for. That's what it really gives you. Then we have benefits of Agmatine in the body. Number 1, it lowers intestinal inflammation, which means that it could be useful for irritable bowel syndrome. And this could be because it inhibits this neural inducible NOS, nitric oxide synthase. Number 2, it lowers high blood sugar and increases insulin secretion in response to glucose. So it helps to improve insulin sensitivity and can help to reduce glycation. Number 3, it improves energy metabolism by activating PPAR alpha and its cofactor PGC1 alpha, as well as increasing the expression of PPAR gamma and genes regulated in thermogenesis, gluconeogenesis, and carnitine biosynthesis and transport. So basically, it enhances proper fat oxidation. It's been shown that incomplete fat oxidation diminishes and complete fat oxidation improves. So by activating the PPAR alpha, it actually can also help to bring down your cholesterol and triglycerides, and that's what I've been seeing. That's what I've seen on my labs. But more on that later on. All right, then we have number 4. It selectively suppresses the growth in cells with high proliferative kinetics, such as transformed cells, through depletion of intracellular polyamine levels. And exogenous Agmatine is also purported to be anti-proliferative agent, which reduces the biosynthesis and increases the degradation of the cell growth and proliferation polyamines, such as putrescine and spermine in different cancer cell lines. That's a mouthful. Agmatine can be converted to polyamines, and polyamines have the potential to worsen cancer, but instead of fueling cancer growth, Agmatine has the potential to inhibit it. Pretty sweet. Number 5, it is mitochondrial protective and can prevent mitochondrial damage, which can ensure energy production even in suboptimal conditions. Number 6, it acts as an adaptogen and lowers cortisol secretion in response to stress. So it's a really great compound for making you more stress resilient. Number 7, it causes the release of luteinizing hormone, releasing hormone from the hypothalamus, which could have a beneficial effect on testosterone. More on that in just a bit. Number 8, it lowers blood pressure irrespective of nitric oxide. Number 9, it increases the pain threshold and reduces neuropathic pain. Number 10, it lowers water retention by increasing the secretion of salt. Number 11, reduces collagen scar formation and enhances functional recovery. So when you create scars or collagenous tissue, it reduces the functionality of that muscle. You want muscle tissue, not scar tissue. The same basically counts for the penis. When you have obesity, sleep apnea, or diabetes or something like that, where you create an excessive amount of free radicals and oxidative stress, you create fibrosis in the penis, which contributes to erectile dysfunction, hard flaccid, short penis, etc. Number 12, it inhibits advanced glycation end products formation, which means that Agmatine can lower HbA1c levels. It increases urea. Some people might think this is bad, but urea is actually anti-inflammatory and antiviral. Low levels of urea is actually not good. But high levels is also not good. You want optimal levels. It also increases cyclic AMP, which in turn can stimulate the testes to pump out more testosterone, similar to caffeine or proscolin, which increases CAMP. A luteinizing hormone also increases CAMP. That's how it stimulates thermogenesis. Number 15, it lowers free fatty acids, which improves insulin sensitivity, as excessive free fatty acids in the presence of glucose causes insulin resistance. Right, so here we are in terms of testosterone. What they did is they injected Agmatine into the brain of animals to see how it would increase luteinizing hormones. So how they came up with this idea is because clonidine can stimulate the release of pituitary luteinizing hormone. So they speculated that Agmatine could do the same because it has some of the similar mechanisms of actions. So what they did is they injected Agmatine into cerebral tissue of the brain. So this was not oral. And when you inject something into the brain, it has 100% bioavailability in that specific area. When you take something oral, it has to be absorbed via the gut. It's going to go to the portal vein to the liver, where it's going to be metabolized. Then it's going into the blood. Then it has to cross the blood-brain barrier, and then it goes to the brain or different tissues of the brain. So there's obviously a huge difference between injection into the brain versus how much you have to take orally to get the same concentrations in that specific area of the brain. And we do not know the required dose of Agmatine orally to see how much you need. And you can see that in different doses, this was 4 micrograms injection increased LH, and then they did a 12 microgram increase, it also increased LH. So Agmatine seems to dose dependently increase luteinizing hormone and potentially also testosterone when they inject it into the brain. So the mechanisms of action seem to be via the imidazoline and alpha-2 adrenergic receptor. So these two receptors are uniquely agonized. There's very few agonists of these receptors. So Agmatine and clonidine does the same. So a lot of people actually use clonidine against anxiety and to promote sleep, and Agmatine has the same things. I think clonidine basically makes you tired. I haven't used it before, versus Agmatine, from my experience, doesn't make me tired, and I've used it in very large doses as well. All right, so in terms of dosing, typically you can use 500 milligrams or even 250 milligrams up to 2.5 grams. In some studies, they've used up to 2.5 grams daily for up to 5 years, and it hasn't caused any side effects. From my experiment, this is my experiment, I've used Agmatine for a while now, but I've run it specifically, this experiment, for a week and a half. So I started with half a teaspoon twice a day, then I increased to 1 teaspoon twice a day, then I increased to 1 tablespoon twice a day for the last 3 days. And then before I did the test, I took 1 tablespoon of Agmatine on an empty stomach about 20 minutes before my test. So this was still fasted. I took it with water. So I just have the Agmatine in my system, because as you can see from this graph, when they injected Agmatine, it increased within the first 10 minutes up to 20 minutes, and then it started going down to 30 minutes. So I wanted to make sure I take it relatively quickly before the test. So when it gets into the blood, going to the brain, you're going to get that increase in LH. You don't want to miss that. All right. And here are some of my results. So my cholesterol decreased by 16 milligram per deciliter, which is something. It's not a huge drop, but I've been only using it for a week and a half, right? So I think in a week and a half, and you get a drop in 16 is not bad. My triglycerides actually dropped by 50 milligram per deciliter, which is actually a relatively big drop for just a week and a half of use. My LH increased by 0.09. So clearly, it's not effective at increasing LH, and I've been using 1 tablespoon twice a day, even a tablespoon before my test, and it did increase my LH. Not exactly sure why. My testosterone went up by 52 nanogram per deciliter. That could also just have been daily or weekly fluctuations. It could be completely nothing to do with the Agmatine. So from my experience using very large doses of Agmatine, it doesn't seem to increase LH and testosterone. But I still love this compound. I've said many times before, just because something doesn't increase testosterone doesn't mean it's useless. If it improves the way you feel better, you focus better, you sleep better, you feel more confident, you feel more calm, you feel more centered, just better, more energized, but it doesn't increase your testosterone, so what? So what? If it benefits you, use it. You don't have to do everything just because it affects your testosterone. But the point is, it doesn't seem to affect your testosterone, and I've done a blood test to confirm it. This was at least me. Maybe it will do for someone else, but I've used small dose, large dose. Yeah. What I can say is that the larger the dose that you take, the more benefit you do feel. So larger doses was more calming, more androgenic feeling, compared to the smaller doses. And this is because of the activation. My reasoning is because it activates PPAR alpha, which then stimulates 5-alpha reductase, creating more allopregnanolone and DHT. So in relation to your testosterone, you have more DHT, so that ratio improves, and this is why you feel more alpha despite testosterone not really coming. So if you would like me to help you maximize your testosterone via any way possible, micronutrient optimization, lifestyle diet, gut optimization, etc., the Testo Tribe is your place to be. This is where low testosterone goes to die. All my courses are on there: how to maximize your testosterone, DHT, prolactin, estrogen, free testosterone, etc., etc. Also, when you join, you get a free personalization call with me so I can help dial in your protocol so you can actually start the testo maxing. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed, learned something new, and I will check you in the next one. Cheers, guys.